Hello fish fools, Jeff here. So this is my planted 40-gallon live bear community tank, and I haven't provided an update on this tank or any of my tanks in a while, and basically what this update is that just showing that it's been neglected. Looking at how much water has evaporated. I haven't done a water change and it's got to be over a month now. If you're familiar with this YouTube channel, like going back years, I go through stretches where work just consumes my whole life, and sometimes I can't keep up with my hobby, unfortunately. And this is one of those stretches. Probably might be among one of the worst stretches. I've even had COVID in the mix. The last couple of years, when everybody around me, like so many people at work, were getting it and had to do contact tracing, and I never got sick, and then kind of figured I had it back then and just was asymptomatic, but just a couple weeks ago it caught me by surprise, and that, even with everything else, just made it just a contribution to what has led to the neglect of my aquarium. So I'm looking at this light has just been off. I've added this a few months ago, whenever it was. I added this submersible light in here, and I noticed that it has been down like this. So this is one of my tanks not looking. All things considered, it's alright. As much as it's been neglected, it'll bounce back. So this is one. My other 40-gallon right here. The same amount of evaporation. These tanks don't have lids. I've been meaning to do a sort of DIY, make some DIY lids for these two tanks. I have the materials for it, but with everything going on, I just haven't had time to do that. But so these without lids have evaporated the most. Let's look at another tank. And here's my 84-gallon tank. So this one has a lid that haven't done any water change with this, but it's not nearly as much evaporation because of the lids on it. Here, everything is looking good in here for the most part. Some of the plants came loose. I've been trying to get the Anubias to stay right there, but it keeps getting knocked up or knocked out of place, and it's just floating over here. But I gotta get in here. And then there's my quarantine tank. These fish have been in quarantine for gotta be over 2 months now. They're ready to go. I just want to get the tanks that they're going in on track before I move them in, but they're ready and waiting. I mean, a lot of these fish were pretty small and have grown some in here. No more guppies. Of the 3 fancy guppies I had in here, the mosaic guppies, the last one I pulled out its dead carcass earlier today, unfortunately. But other than that, all the others looking good. I've been anxious to get them in their new tanks, but when I get to do that, I will provide an update when that happens. Let's move on to another 20 long with guppies. This one is a lot of evaporation here too. This one has a lid, but I've been keeping it kind of like that because I've been needing to clean it. This has the rosy loaches, and that's where I've been growing an acroside with the 3 stems. The plan was to, every time it reaches the surface, to clip it, but now the surface has lowered significantly. I need to, as I do the next water change, I'm going to spread out the anacris some more. Alright, back over here is a 40-gallon So, as I mentioned, it's been, it's got to be over a month now since I've done a water change, and I think things are really getting to a bad spot. I pulled out a couple of dead guppies today. I've been finding them, just this Java moss growing out of control, like pretty much, yeah, almost every day I'm finding one in here, and I haven't tested the water. I imagine the nitrates are super high, pH is probably very low in the process. With the water getting low and this light right here not shining on it, this Anacharis is like dying. Like Anacharis is one of my favorite plants, a stem plant that grows really fast when it's in good conditions, but without light it dies really fast. So a lot of that is like just like dead and rotting in here. But there is a lot of babies, there's one right there, a lot of fry. Yeah, you see them all moving. That's one in here. Now there's getting to be blackbeard algae all over here. So I do have some Siamese algae eaters in the quarantine tank, so I'll move those in here. I do, looking from the top, I love looking at the guppies, like their shiny iridescence from the top view. But yeah, look at all this. This Java moss is getting out of control. I think what's hurting this tank, you just see how the hang-on back filter is just pouring in right there, but it's not much water flow in the tank, just so much of this Java moss. That's all. There's like hardly really enough water movement. This is below the thing is above, the water line is below this, so I'm not getting much over here. But alright, so I'm going to do a water change, and then, I'm going to try to catch up this week doing a water change on my tanks, like, try to do at least one each night this week. So this will be the first one, so, but yeah. Well, that's what's going on now. I mean, that's one of the realities of trying to maintain like at least 10 tanks that I have, and balancing work and life and everything. But, with the fish, the ones that will last through this will be more resilient, I believe, and I'm going to try to get things back on track. And somehow, along with this, I had a lot of shrimp in here. I'm not seeing any shrimp. The shrimp population, Neocaridina shrimp, I'm not seeing any, but I mean, there's got to be some in here. There's so much cover. Once I do a water change, fill this back up, there'll be more space, and I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but I will later. I will provide more updates as I get my aquariums back in order. But alright, well, that's it for now. And remember, I'm Jeff, and I enjoy fishies. Thanks for watching.